I'm not saying this is a cure for ADHD or ADD or neurodivergency or any type of mental health illness. But if you've ever thought that you've had one of those or you've been diagnosed with them, you need to consider this. Now, if you were anything like me when I was a kid, you probably compared yourself to other kids and also to like celebrities and people that you would see through the screen. And this generally leads to a, why am I not normal like other kids are? And it wasn't until my mid-20s that I realized there's a difference between normal and natural. It was human design that helped me get perspective on the difference between normal and natural. What's natural for you may not be normal. In that normal is the average of something. It's not taking into account those on the lower or higher end of the spectrum in terms of mental function, emotional function, sacral, sexual creative function. And human design is literally the thing that got me in touch with my natural self and helped me let go of some of these normal standards that I was holding myself to that were really just making me hate myself. And these are called body graphs. This is human design. And you can think of these like energetic blueprints, and each individual has a unique body graph. If you're curious what yours looks like, just go to ReikiMarco.com. That's my website, and plug in your birth information. It'll generate you a body graph totally for free. Now, there is this custom human design report, which I highly recommend because it's only $20 and it'll just tell you everything you need to know. Now, depending on your time, day, and location of birth, your placements, like I said, are going to be unique, meaning that the way that these centers function is going to be unique from person to person. Each individual is going to perceive reality and manifest their reality or their desires or their energy in a unique way. The more definition you see in your chart, that's these centers that are colored in and connected to each other, the more consistent your energy is going to be. The more white centers you see in the chart, these are undefined centers. They're not colored in. They're not connected to any other centers. That's where there's going to be more openness. These are going to be areas where your energy is going to be less consistent. You're going to be able to get information from the external world, but it might be more challenging to know which thoughts are yours, what ego is yours, which direction is right for you, which health choice is right for you, which sexual energy is right for you, what creative energy is right for you. And in a world where they stress, like, you have to know what you're going to do, you have to be able to focus on things, you have to this, you have to that, they've normalized a standard. There's no room for individuals, except in, of course, buying things. Like, brands target people based off of their individual circuitry, unconscious individual circuitry, and it makes them feel like they're more themselves because they're buying something. When in actuality, they're just falling victim to these brands preying on the fact that people do not understand this shit. But I guarantee you that the people that are making millions and millions of dollars off of you spending money on stuff that you probably don't need, like sports cars and makeup and all this shit, like, they understand this. Now, I started this video saying that if you have ADD or ADHD or neurodivergency, that it might not actually be any of that stuff. It might just be the way that you're hardwired and the measuring stick that you're using to measure yourself by. These undefined centers are supposed to remain open, meaning like you can entertain people's way of thinking, you can entertain people's thoughts, you can entertain a direction, you can entertain a way of keeping yourself healthy, but it's not supposed to be fixed. Like these centers, you have a way of managing your stress, you have a way of moving through your emotions, you have a specific way of speaking. Those are fixed, those never change. But when you take these undefined centers that are supposed to be beautiful, open, and receptive and fixate them, well, that's like telling an artist that they can only use one medium. You're only allowed to use a 16 by 20 canvas and you're only allowed to use this color palette. It's so limiting. Now, the way that this manifests in terms of mental health diagnosis is, of course, you go to a doctor, the doctor measures you and then compares you to the rest of the world and says, oh, you're a little bit divergent from the normal. So in order to get you back to normal, we're going to prescribe you these medications. So now, I'm not saying that neurodivergency, ADD, and ADHD don't exist. I'm not saying chemical imbalances don't exist. What I'm saying is that they're not accidents. And if you stop comparing yourself and trying to be like everybody else and just embrace the way you came into the world, there's a whole host of experience that is specifically available to you that's not available to any other people on the planet. One of the saddest things in the world is when your genius is painted out to be some kind of disability or disorder. You can think about like autistic kids that are artistic or musical geniuses, even though they can't like communicate like a normal human being. Their brain just works differently, and your body and your energy and your brain works in a unique way. And human design is not necessarily going to tell you what it is, but it'll give you some experiments to run so that you can see for yourself and not just rely on the word of a doctor who's comparing you to other people. Comparison is the thief of joy. And we love joy. This being right here, a mental projector is going to be much more detail-oriented and affected by the environment than this being over here. This person is much more sensation-oriented. It's going to be easier for this person to know who they are based off of their own sensations and based off of their own ambition than this person up here. This person over here is going to have more trouble when it comes to connecting with their emotions, taking accountability for their emotions, confronting their own emotions than this person right here. This person will face the challenge of never being able to escape their own emotions and what they're feeling. This person over here is going to be naturally more provocative than any of these other types. Just as well, they're also going to be much more of an innovator. They're going to care a lot more about the innovations and the past and how it affects future products, ideas, etc. Like seriously, I could just do that all day because it's so fascinating to me. And like I said, don't just like look at your body graph, buy in a report and be like, oh, this is who I am. Like spend the next year and a half checking yourself. Being like, wow, I used to think this was true about myself, but this report says otherwise. Let me see for myself, okay? Don't just trust any old Reiki master or any old yogi or any plant medicine shaman person to tell you who you are. You have to run your own experiments and see for yourself. This stuff right here is just like a map and a compass. It's not the treasure, it's a map and a compass that can lead you to the treasure. You still got to go on the adventure, but the map and the compass will make it so that you don't spend an entire lifetime looking for a penny in a dark room that isn't there. Now, the most efficient and affordable way to start integrating this information into your life is to literally do what I showed you earlier. Go generate your body graph and spend 20 bucks and get you a custom report. Now, alternatively, if you don't want to spend 20 bucks, you can spend a bunch of time researching a bunch of stuff online. It's out there, but not all of it is reliable and not all of it is digestible. These reports are both of those things. ReikiMarco.com is the website. Link is also in my bio. And if you've made it this far in the video, it means that your curiosity is piqued. So scratch the itch, because 7 years from now, you could look back on this video and today as the day that literally changed everything.